everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of News, Views, and To-Dos. Today, I am so excited to be joined by my colleagues Ray Ritter, LISI's Director of Client Service and Marketing, Taryn Elliott, LISI's Director of Client Success and Marketing, and Leslie McLean, LISI's Creative Director. So why do I have a full LISI team on our show today? Because today we're going to be talking about the fact that we just launched our new brand and website after, I don't know, guys, at least 10 years of the old stuff. So we're very, very excited to be here talking about it. And we're just going to sort of have a conversation about what that process was like, what our creative process was like, how we came together, and sort of what the lessons were that we took away from the experience. So with that being said, how great does the website look, guys? It's awesome, right?
It's amazing.
It's like night and day. We were just talking about the fact that our old website was truly one large page with a bunch of anchor links, and it was very limiting in terms of what we could actually add to the site or how we could drive, add content or build on any portion of the site. I mean, it was almost like we were creating something from scratch in some ways, because there's infinitely more content on this page, right? Ray, you said that to me at one time when I was saying, oh my God, there's so much writing. And you're like, because this is a brand new site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay. So talk to me, Ray, why don't you kick us off? Talk to me about the process and how was the process for you? Let's start there.
So in many ways, it worked exactly like our regular website projects with our clients. We have a process, starting with discovery, understanding the goals, the design, development, QA, and the content writing, kind of overlapping all of those steps. So we really followed our regular process. I think the biggest thing that was different was having some people sitting on both sides of the table. So, working with you guys, our other team, you are both a client and the agency. And I think one thing that was really unique about this team is everyone on the team is a problem solver. So everyone's trying to solve all the problems that could pop up. And it was, a few times I, spoke to you and said, it's great that you found that issue, but you don't necessarily have to be the person to solve that design problem or that development problem, that the person who, is in that role can solve those problems. And I think with so many problem solvers are used to putting on a lot of hats, and that was so I think the pressure was on because we had hold ourselves at a really high standard. This is the thing that will market us. It was like our baby. So
yeah,
a little different than normal.
It's a little different. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it was interesting. We were talking before this sort of recording about I think we were stymied a little bit in getting the website project up and running because of exactly what you were talking about, right? So Karen's a problem solver, and Leslie's a problem solver, you're a problem solver, I'm a problem solver, and we all are very, very creative people. And so we're all coming to the table, figuring out how to bring all of those creative concepts into a unique, single vision was really hard. And I have to be honest, I think we came up with several iterations that look completely different than where we ended up with. And it was sort of crazy to see those creative concepts come to life and go, oh, no, that is not what we want whatsoever. And then, end up with what we ended up with.
And I think one of the things that set us down the path that we ultimately ended up on for our website was when the team was like, we thought we were just updating our website, but now that we're into it, we're looking at updating our brand and completely changing that, which wasn't a part of the original vision for this website project. It was just a simple update. And we find that happens a lot with clients as well. You think, oh, I'm just going to make these few small changes. And then you realize through that process, you've grown and evolved and a whole new brand is in order. And I think once we started down that path, that naturally led us to where we ended up a lot more easily.
I totally agree with you.
Because it was our own website and not a client's, at the beginning, it took the backseat to other projects we were working on, and we took a long time to get started. But then once we hit that point where we landed on the right idea, I think it moved very quickly and very smoothly from that point forward. So when we all put the whole team's working together, I feel like we can work very quickly and efficiently, but it took us longer than usual to get there.
Yeah. I know that you and Ray had a conversation about, should we really take a step back and think about this logo, because this is our chance. One of the goals of our website was to have it be the best representation of our work or our potential. And would our old logo, which actually in this case was only a year old, would it actually serve that purpose? And I'd be interested to hear sort of how you felt about that and why you felt strongly we needed to rethink that.
I think when we had those early conversations, we were saying, how can we take some visual, some little piece of the logo and incorporate it into some branding or look and feel somewhere on the site. So, there's a watermark on the page, on a page, a few different places where it's the logo in the background. If it's really just plain letters, like it's not as impactful if it's a more unique logo. And, how else can we utilize little pieces of that brand throughout our site and really from the design, from the very first design, look and feel, make it so unique that, it could never be copied, because they would have to copy our logo too. And that's something that Leslie has done really effectively on client sites. And I think that's why we brought that up, hey, this is the opportunity. It would be a missed opportunity not to rethink that. I don't think it's always important for a firm to change their logo with the website if it has a really strong brand recognition or is very meaningful in the industry and, with clients. You wouldn't want to jeopardize that. But we find in law firms, there's probably only a handful of firms whose logo is that impactful that it couldn't use a little update.
Also, because we're creating logos, ours should be a little more out there than,
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with
I think what really helped, especially because my role in this project really did seem to be more on the client side than the agency side of things, as we work together among the four of us in our team. And what really helped is when someone would stop, usually Ray, and say, is this what we would recommend for a client? And if the answer was yes, then we really took a step back and said, okay, if we would recommend this for a client, then yes, we really need to look at doing this for ourselves. So it was that interesting play of what would we recommend for clients? Then of course, we definitely need to be doing that for ourselves. And what can we push ourselves to do more of? Because there are things that we'd love to see clients do more of too. Because as Robin said, like what really felt like was guiding this whole thing is that this website, this brand, this entire process needed to be the best representation of what LISI could do for clients.
Yeah. And I think we should talk a little bit about how, we, in some of our marketing teasers, we've been talking about evolution versus revolution. And I want to tell briefly that story because Jason, God bless him, he didn't really, he felt very strongly about the logo, and I don't blame him. It's been, he built this business 23 years ago, and he has had, he's been deeply involved in the logo developments and sort of the business development over the past 23 years. And over the past couple of years, he has big goals, and he has sort of turned over the reins in a lot of ways to me and to the rest of the team to help sort of take it into the next 23 years, I guess. And so when we talked about, is this a missed opportunity? When he and I talked about, is this a missed opportunity to think about redoing our logo? He wasn't really feeling it at first. And he sort of said, does this have to be can this be an evolution or does it have to be a revolution? And I said back to him, and then I know the team also spoke to him about it being, it really does need to be a revolution, because where we are as an agency today is revolutionarily different than where he started and where it has been for a long part of its history. And that, I think I remember sharing that feedback with this group. And that, I think, really sparked a lot of creativity too. Okay, if this is revolutionary, what does that mean? And how can we actually bring that through into everything? And I think one thing that is sort of revolutionary about our website is our portfolio page, our work pages, because every single one of them, yes, every single client is different. Every single page is a little bit different, even though it has similar elements across them. But, the fact that our work pages are all different is reflective of the fact that the work that we do for each individual client is different. And that just feels, I don't know, like it probably nobody is looking at it and thinking that like consciously, but subconsciously, I think the message permeates that everything is different and unique. I don't know. What do you guys think?
We get questions sometimes, are you going to build my website on a template? And the answer is every single site is custom and unique and different. And, certainly if a client says to us, hey, I like this style of photography or something else, we can incorporate those influences. But we really dig deep to understand the firm, the culture, how decisions are made internally. All those things factor into the design and how the website looks, feels, and functions.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to say, Leslie, you probably are going to hate this question, but, how did you what process did you take, or how did you pull together sort of your design inspiration for this site? Obviously, us, our agency really, really well, but, where was your sort of starting point, or I don't even know, one point, but where did you sort of start with, and how did it evolve throughout the process?
I think this was probably one of the harder websites than a client's website, because we all have different points of view and visions of what we think it should be. I think it was a collaborative effort coming up with the design direction, and we went through a lot of rounds of things. And I think nothing is exactly the way I would have done it if I was doing it for myself, but it shouldn't be that way. I think it's all of ours. I think we landed in a place that works, and took us a while to get there.
But I think that's a good point. Leslie doesn't design for herself. She designs for the client.
Right.
And again, that's, if she designed for herself, they would all be the same.
And this was just different because it is the company I work for, but it's the company we all work for. So it's a collaborative effort.
And I think that's a testament to our team, which goes again with who we are today, not being who we were 23 years ago, is that when I look at the website, I see bits and pieces that I know not just the four of us contributed, but every member of our team contributed, and the different things that they did. And I think that one, it creates an overall better product, but two, I think it also creates something that we're all proud of. And I hope that our clients feel that too, when they're looking at their websites and saying, oh, like that part there, I did that. That was my idea. And that they're sharing it with their friends and their family and their clients thinking that. And, I know for myself, like that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is looking at our website and seeing all of the different parts that we worked on, because it truly was a team effort. It wasn't one person doing it in a silo by themselves. And I'm a big fan of better together. And so I think that's where this took us as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think a good example of that on the writing side too, because I'm thinking about this, like we're centering around this conversation a lot around the website, but I also think that's just the tangible thing that is the revolution of our brand. And one thing I think that's really cool about the site that I'm also very proud of is a lot of the writing on the site, which I know you and I, Taryn, brainstormed months ago about how do we bring truly the voice of the client into every corner of the site as much as we can. And we came up with these sort of like, you are X, we are Y couplets. And then those are the bookends of our services pages. So you are this, we are that. Here's the service that we do. You do this, you do what you do best, leave the rest to us. And each one of those is unique. And I just thought for the portions that I wrote, I was having like such nerd fun writing all of that stuff.
And it was a lot to write.
Yes.
Like we said before, we went from a 1-pager to, I don't even know how many pages, but so much net new content had to be generated and tweaked and edited. And I mean, that's something that's really important for any website project. I'll tell any client, it's the same thing with the brand changing, like, is it really worth taking all of your old content and just plopping it on a new design? And the answer is, it's a good time to reevaluate your message, how you're saying it, moving away from a giant wall of text to something that is a little more skimmable. And we know that people don't read the whole thing top to bottom. They're skimming and looking for things. And some people read more, but that's just what's happening in our world today with so many, things popping up in everyone's faces. You have to get someone's attention with some of those headlines, some of those couplets you mentioned.
Yeah.
To draw them in.
So we end every one of these conversations with advice for our audience. And I think I know that we as a group really took stock of some major takeaways that we had from this experience. And I think it'd be valuable for us to just talk for a minute about some of them. And I'm going to start right in the middle of our list with good writing takes time, like a lot of time. I know, again, for the portions that I wrote, I was writing, late at night or early in the morning when I wouldn't be disturbed so that I could focus and think about that. I've never written so much content all at once in my life. And absolutely, to compare with that, an editor is worth her weight in gold. What were some of the other things, Taryn? What were some of the other things that we learned from doing the site?
One of the things we've talked about, and not just with our website, but for all the projects we work on, is don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And, I think that was really difficult for this team because there's so much creativity happening on our team that to get to a logical place where we can actually move forward and sort through all those ideas and come up with a direction. Sometimes we just had to pick something and move forward, and it was good. And maybe it's not perfect. Like Leslie said, this isn't the website she would have designed if she did it by herself. So I think you always have to have that balance between making it, completely line up with whatever you're trying to align it to, and being like, nope, good enough. And we need to keep moving, or else we will never finish this website and it'll be 2025 before it launches.
Right.
And actually, one more thing I would say about that idea is, I say this to clients all the time, a website is not a printed brochure that exists on your shelf. It's something that can be edited and changed at any time. So if it goes up and then you realize, oh, I would like to add this other section to all the bios, or I'd like to add another practice or a completely new page or something, change every place that it's this color should now be that color. You can always make those changes. I mean, the best time would be during the website project, but if people come up with ideas later, you can always make changes to a website. So just, if you don't want to get held up, like you were saying, you don't want perfect to be the enemy of finished.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the way the website was built gives us a lot of room to grow and change the website over time with just the way it was done on the back end, which I think is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
That's another thing we're really proud of with all of our sites, having a very easy to use back end so that anyone in the team can get in there and make changes. And we were saying we didn't have a major training on how to use it. It was just so intuitive that folks on our team just went in and
I had no training on it, and I just figured it out.
Yeah. But that's important to me because I've worked in law firms where it was the complete opposite of that. There needs to be training. There needed to be lots of reminders and manuals and things on how to manage website content. And that's not a great place to be if you have more than one person making edits.
Right. And then if you only have one person making edits and that person leaves, you're SOL. So
Right.
Yeah. I know we talked about this one, but this lesson really resonates with me because I am not naturally somebody who likes to be disagreed with, except for I know how much better my work product is, generally speaking, for people who challenge my ideas. And I think that I know that was a huge takeaway. And I think that we really embodied that lesson throughout this whole project. And I'm really, not to get touchy-feely, but I'm really proud of and just really thankful for this team because we did it in a really respectful and constructive way. There were times when my bad idea, nobody was like, that's awful. Everybody was like, I see what you're doing, but I think we could do it this way. And that was important. And it was really productive. And I think that was great.
Mm-hmm.
That one was definitely.
Yes.
That one was definitely one where you had to take a step back and be like, they're not personally attacking me. They're just looking at it differently, or they see a different side of it. And usually once you talk it through for a minute or two, you're like, okay, moving on, we're good.
Totally.
I was glad that Ray was the buffer.
Me too.
She's a very level-headed person. She's very good at being, communicating between the sides. Why?
Yes.
Were you secretly in the room going, no, why are you thinking this?
I, not having necessarily worked on all of the website projects with Ray, I really loved seeing Ray doing what Ray does every day. It was really eye-opening to see what she does for clients. And that Leslie's design amazed me, but how Ray shepherded this project through our team and everything, and all of the details and hand-holding that she does, for our team that she also does for clients was simply amazing to see.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I mean, a great team make it easier, right? Every law firm client is not as wonderful to work with. Most are, but
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, ladies of LISI. It was fun talking to you about our website and our brand revolution. And I hope everybody enjoys checking out the new site, and let us know what you think. Feel free to drop us a line, fill out, one of the forms, let us know what you're thinking, and get in touch with us. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.